All right. Welcome everyone to Dorsey's Resource. First, as usual, before we get started, I'd like to give a disclaimer. This video is going to be for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. Please understand everyone's individual circumstance or situation may be different. It's up to every individual competent person to please do his or her homework and research regarding the matter being discussed. This information is not to be construed as legal advice. In the event you feel you need to seek a competent professional, it is encouraged you do so at one's own leisure. Dorsey's Resource Channel is not liable or responsible for any misuse of this information. With that being said, everyone is responsible for their own affairs. Please govern yourselves accordingly. All rights are reserved. Now, to get into the topic, I'm going to discuss why I'm returning to YouTube, the decision that I'm making, plus this is Q&A. We'll see how many we get in to the chat. As I want to say, as usual, I want to thank you all who continue to follow me, those who continue to stay subscribed to Dorsey's Resource, those of you all who I've heard from that have been following me from the very beginning. I want to say I appreciate you, and much love. I want to let you guys know before I get into things. So I wanted to come before you all earlier today, of course, as usual, to explain the reason why. I see Fox Chick in the chat says greetings to you. Thank you for joining, by the way, appreciate you. So I wanted to address, I had a couple subscribers, a few people contacted me, by the way, that had questions. And I had a lot of notes prepared. I don't have them with me because I'm obviously at the work I call it the slavery plantation, by the way. So, I'm going to try to go freestyle off the top of the head to explain you guys why I am coming back. I don't want to say temporary, but the reason I'm making the decision to return in relation to that event, I was told recently, again, it seems like deja vu from last year, that they didn't want me doing videos about or in relation to that event that I attended. Or by the way, they even mentioning certain names. I do have several sources, I would say even multiple sources. By the way, there's current attendees that I know. There's even some, I would say, some newbies that I met. And then there's like a source, if you know 6 degrees of separation, that I have, because they can't stop people from talking. Still, people are going to relay information and they're going to share information. So in relation to that event, I'll try to refrain from mentioning the name, but many of you already know the name. By the way, I have mixed feelings about it, and I haven't gotten paid so far, and that's been one of my biggest pet peeves so far, even in the notes that I had. But it's deeper than that. I'm not a materialistic or money-hungry person. By the way, I think I've addressed that already. I may go further. I'm going to do a follow-up video just to give you guys a heads up, by the way, in relation to that event, my grievances, and the reason why I've decided to return and not leave social media just yet. And I think I want to be sure in this decision. However, I think for what my observation and is, I have other things, other areas that I've invested in, I've prepared for, and I just have to kind of roll with the punches. I'm kind of the type of individuals that, will try to, how do they say, I kind of go with the flow, if you know what I mean. So the reason why I've decided to continue doing the videos is YouTube, by the way, as many of you all may already know, I've mentioned this in the past on multiple occasions. I do get paid from the Google AdSense revenue, which is not that much. However, it does help out if you guys want to see me go to the next level. I appreciate the donations that I've received recently, even the private consultations. It does help go a long way. Also, I appreciate networking with individuals, people out there that I met for the first time. I want to let you guys know, if I haven't said it already, I'm not a know-it-all. I may know a lot of information. I may be strong in certain areas. However, I'm a humble person that's willing to admit I could grow stronger in certain areas that I'm weak in. So that's where sometimes where sword sharpens sword. That's also why I've exempted certain individuals that don't have to pay to contact me. And I've been getting really good information in recently, excellent information so far, I would say, within the past few days. And I have been busy. I'm still on a stringent schedule. I've been in the midst of other domestic duties. Of course, I won't go into all the details of my personal business. However, I did mention I am in the process of looking for another job. By the way, I'm thinking of even doing two jobs, and I actually did that earlier this year. By the way, so without further ado, but to try to stay on the topic in relation to that event, I've decided to return because several things. I'm going off the top of the head. I do plan on doing a follow-up, but I haven't gotten paid yet from that event. They were still holding my private paperwork, and it's hard to just go by somebody's word, even though not saying that they're not telling the truth. What they're saying could be credible, but however, I'm just going by what they're telling me, and I haven't seen otherwise. I haven't seen confirmation. And when the individual resurfaced in November of 2018, when I received a call by another source that I have, they were stating again, it seemed like it turned into the same old, same old. We were promised there was going to be funding. We were going to be funded by January of 2019, even if you decided not to return, because I was part of the original 2009 group. I even heard an individual, and I agree with them on this point, that the 2009 people, it's not fair to those original attendees that they had not been funded or taken care of yet. And we've been told to be patient for a number of years. And it's we're talking about days turned into months, months turned into years. And it's been the same old drumbeat over and over. And after a while, an individual has to make a decision and says, wait a minute, something doesn't add up here. And mind you, as I try to help give you guys a deeper look into these elite people, by the way, I'm not trying to hate, but I'm trying to give you guys an understanding. I feel like they don't feel our pain, the suffering that those of us that are still within the matrix are going through, within the public sector of the system that are trying to free ourselves. Remember, they come from a demographic where they were taught by their parents, or they were sent to private schools by invitation only, or when they became of age, or they may have had a friend, a neighbor, or someone they were fortunate enough to pull them into the private sector or to assist them with learning this information. I do find it hard to believe that some individuals that have been able to free themselves, because I've seen some of the smartest, most intelligent people struggle, have difficulty, because this information is so high level, what I'm part of. I've had people, sister years ago that used to belong to a church, asked me on my Facebook account, because I used to leave different messages. She said, what are you part of? By the way, because people I know are part of different things. I do study up. You guys obviously know I've shown the books on the secret societies. I know about different organizations. So, mama didn't raise no fool. I do my research, and I know many of you all do as well. And there's much skepticism. Well, however, I've decided in my best interest, I have to do what's right for me. And because they have not delivered on their promise and are expecting us original members and people who have not gotten funded to just hold on, continue to believe what they say, that they're going to get a call from the DTC. Been hearing the same thing for years, but there's never a call. And I question, in my mind, is this from the corporation? Is this one of their departments? Is this like customer service people that are going to call, or is this individuals of the private sector? They never clarify. So I was confused. This was almost like, in a way, a mythological story, a fairy tale. It's like you're giving false hopes and false dreams, and I can understand when an individual mentioned about the Pied Piper. This seems like, parables and, fairy tale almost in a sense too good to be true. I was even told that this is similar to a cult, and I'm going to address a little bit of that as well. I had an individual that kind of defended the stance on that particular organization. They were trying to relay, saying that that what you're already doing, that the government is a cult and that corporations. I've kind of heard the same concept with multi-level marketing people that tried to defend MLM or network marketing, try to use the same argument, by the way. But the problem is when you subject someone against their free will, when you subvert someone against their free will, that's not good. And I was told, I was advised even recently by one of my confidants, one of the most intelligent people that I know, who I appreciate for relaying this information to me, because I'm trying to evaluate, make my decision, feel like I'm in a catch-22 situation. It's also why I wanted to do this video today, which is also September 22nd. We're about to be into the going to the 23rd, because I felt like I'm in a catch-22 situation. It's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't, by the way, if you know what I mean. So in making my decision, I had to go by, have they delivered yet? Where do I see myself headed going in the next 2 to 5 years from now? Where do I see myself? Kind of like a question you get asked on a job interview. Sometimes people are asked, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? You know, and just going by the previous history and their track record, because I was part of the original 2009 group. Imagine way back then. And I heard about this individual back in 2008. By the way, that's a whole nother discussion. But I was contacted in early 2009. And I just want to say it's been a very, very long time, what most people agree with. So just going by the track record, and they haven't delivered on what they promised week after week, well, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. And we're still hearing the same old drum roll. So I don't want to sound like, I know to some of you guys, I've gotten this before. I don't want to sound like I know I repeat myself, but I don't want to sound like a broken record. And that's what this has turned into, by the way. And other individuals I've spoken with who are still current have said the same thing. And I've even talked to a couple individuals that were still current attendees who decided to come back that said they were very frustrated. And they felt, one individual described to me, he felt like he was being used like a pimp, that he was being pimped out, like he was a trick on the street, because they keep making the same promise. And I like another perspective. An individual said that it doesn't seem like that they're just stalling for the global currency reset. Someone had mentioned to me, I won't say who, one of the sources that I have, which I take heed to. I like different opinions, different perspectives, but they said that they think that he's stalling for something else. And there's only maybe a few other things that I could think of that they could be stalling for other than the reset, because, you know, let's be honest, many of us who were part of that endeavor were in it for the funding. By the way, we wanted to get, you know, of course, compensated. I see a few of you all are in the chat section, so I'm going to acknowledge the chat. I did say this is going to be Q&A. So just to let you all know, this is Q&A. This is the best time to reach me, by the way. If I'm slow answering my emails sometime or getting back, understand I'm already following up with inquiries. I do have a couple close sources. I'm in the midst. I've been really busy, by the way. I've been getting really good information and very recently, by the way. And one individual I have to follow back up with may even be, if I have the time, I'm trying to see how I can fit it in, taking some classes on learning about, well, I won't go into the details. I'll keep that, you know, to myself pretty much, because there's something else I wanted to discuss with you guys too about agents out there and gatekeepers who watch my channel or follow this information, who I think don't have good intentions, who try to sabotage things too. And I've tried to warn you guys, they really do exist. There's individuals out there. And also, in case you guys, if you can, I appreciate it. If you can hit the thumbs up button, please subscribe to me at Dorsey's Resource on YouTube. Also subscribe to my backup channel, Dorsey's Resource Channel 2. It should be in the description box after the video uploads. My more recent videos, especially my most recent ones, quite a few, I put information in the description box in terms of contacting me for serious inquiries only, by the way, or if you're interested in private consultation, anything that, you know, you want to know for private coaching, if there's something that you like, you're curious about, I don't hold back. By the way, I will go over those things because some information is too public because YouTube is very public, and there's certain things I don't go as in depth, and I can go a lot deeper. I do hold back certain information because a couple of you all know that do know me personally, that I have discussed, talked to privately. I've even mentioned that certain things I don't share, by the way, even pertaining to stuff I know about the voter registration, even though I did a video on my backup channel about that, and I would have had more views if I did that video on this channel, but I intentionally put the video over there just to see how many of you guys would go over and subscribe to my backup channel and check that out, by the way, because I might, sometimes go over there and have information, so if you read between the lines. So State Bound says peace and blessings. John Patton says blessings, Dorsey. Appreciate you all for joining. Thank you. State Bound says, can you say that something is yours if you have to ask another for it? By the way, that's a good statement if that's in regards to that event that I attended. Because see, here's what's going on. I don't have my notes in front of me. By the way, I had a lot of information. I'm going to do a follow-up video probably. I'm leaning towards tomorrow. We're about to leave the 22nd this Tuesday, which is also known historically reason a lot of election days of voting are on Tuesday. Tuesday represents the planet Mars, which is at war. Mars represents in astrology, deals with war, fighting. And it's also the 22nd, which I'm in a catch-22. That's why I wanted to do this video to kind of illustrate how I'm in a catch. You heard the saying, look up, is catch-22, what that means. It's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I'm going into the reasons why I'm returning to YouTube and social media. By the way, this is also Q&A, so if you guys have any statements, questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to chime in the chat section. Don't hesitate. Don't be afraid. This is the best time to reach me. If I don't respond as fast, understand I do have a busy schedule when it comes to my email, the other ways to contact me. You can also, if you are serious, contact me for private coaching, by the way, or anything that you want to know that you're curious about, that you may feel I may be able to provide insight or answer questions for you. I have it in the description box. You can cash at me or PayPal me for private coaching. Or if you just simply want to donate, you like the work that I do, you can do that, or you can super chat, just putting it out there. By the way, and I do appreciate those who have donated, those recently that have had consultations and things, and I try to share as much as I can. And it's a big difference when you speak to me in person versus when I'm on YouTube. Muritz, let's see. So hopefully I answered that statement. It's kind of encoded State Bound where he says, can you say something is yours if you have to ask another for it? That's a real good statement that shows how they control our accounts. A lot of people don't know, but see, the problem they're committing is a form of subterfuge when they're supposed to be given disclosure. And from speaking with a subscriber from a previous conversation we had, he was sharing with me some years ago how this information used to be taught, and I didn't even know, in high school and college. And then for a certain period of years, they removed it. Then they brought it back, and then they took it away again. So they're playing games, intentionally hiding this information, and that's not right. Especially dealing with discharge and debt. Debt is their weapon. I did a video a long time ago about that. How they use the banking, the monetary system. By the way, how debt is their weapon. So I've addressed that before. Maritz 06 says, good vibes, bro. Hope all is well. Appreciate you. Thank you for the positive comment. Andre Butler says, what up, D? Appreciate you. Thank you for joining, Andre. King Terrence says, all right, now, Dorsey, no more starting and stopping. Homie, let's get the ball rolling nonstop. Yeah, I feel you. I definitely feel you. HH says, a big hello, my friend. Still here. So what they told me, by the way, and I was pretty much told, they didn't mind me doing the videos. Again, it's just they didn't want me mentioning information pertaining to that event. by the way, are also individuals' names. And guys, keep in mind, the only reason when you guys do hear me mention real names or actual names of people, I do that to show either share my appreciation for these individuals. On top of that, to also provide validity, so individuals out there can validate, people that know me can say, no, Dorsey, he's telling the truth. They can back me on that if they come across somebody else. So you guys know that my content is credible. By the way, that's the only few times when I do mention real names, I'm trying to show credibility, or I'm showing my appreciation for the individuals for what they helped me out for. If you do hear me mention a actual name, by the way, which I've gone into detail about people I first met in the movement many years ago, people that I met at the events that I attended. I'm also, sometimes I'm showing appreciation for what these people share to help me out with. By the way, that's the only few times when you hear me mention real actual names, by the way. State Bound says, forgive me, brother. Okay. Not sure what you're talking about in reference to that comment, State Bound, if you want to elaborate. So this guy, just to let you all know, this is Q&A, question and answer. Don't hesitate to jump in the chat section. I'm discussing why I'm returning is the topic of this video. By the way, I don't have my notes, so there's going to be a follow-up video in regards to this one where I've got information compiled, where I'm going to go into detail. I'm going to speak kind of vaguely in reference to that event, but I was told that they didn't mind me doing the event, but however, once again, they don't want the name of that organization or whatnot, private entity being associated or put out there, or names of individuals tied in, which I do understand. However, I have mentioned what my grievances were from the past, and I'm establishing, by me being public, I'm putting on public record in a way too. I'm kind of establishing that unofficially, in a sense, to show validity behind what I'm going over, because I do have supporting documentation to back up, substantiate the information I do discuss, by the way. And I've also been receiving some very powerful information behind the scenes. Both things, two separate things. I'm not really at liberty to go into detail about the other thing. I've just decided I'm not going to mention it, what it is at all. I'm going to try not to in that regard, by the way. So in case you're wondering, I'm your host, John Dorsey. You're watching Dorsey's Resource. If you haven't, don't forget to hit the subscription button in the lower right-hand corner of the video. Hit the notification bell, so whenever I put out new videos, you will be updated. By the way, also, if you check, sometimes you have to check your YouTube feed, by the way, or on your phone. Go into your settings. It should let you know when I'm going live, by the way. So if you guys don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you like the content that I put out. It's an unofficial way of voting, letting me know you appreciate my work, you appreciate the content that I do. Always, you're welcome to leave a comment after the video. By the way, if there's something you want to maybe see me do a video about, any comments, questions, or concerns, whenever I do Q&A, don't hesitate to jump in the chat, which you guys are welcome to jump right in. By the way, this is also Q&A session, open invitation to everyone. Don't hesitate. It helps the flow of the conversation. So let's get it in. Okay, State Bound says, my original question, I don't want no smoke. Okay. All right. Byron Bo says, hello, my friend. Greetings to you. Thank you for joining, Byron Bo. Friends, okay. Appreciate you. King Terrence says, you should definitely consider a private chat group also, Dorsey. Okay, I've been considering that, and I'm gonna have to look into it. I was advised, someone inboxed me on Twitter. YouTube has something new called a members only for subscribers, where they can pay for membership, and then I could set the chat section for members only exclusives, by the way. Also, I noticed other channels, I don't have any moderators. I know in the past, some of you guys have suggested that. It seems like the last video, I had a lot of trolling going on, so I wasn't able to get to everyone because there was somebody who was dominating the comment section It seemed like they had some legitimate statements, but it was overwhelming because another subscriber I talked to that I know had mentioned that, and it was kind of driving down the rest of the people I was trying to get to, by the way, to try to answer their statements, comments, questions, or concerns. So if you guys are interested in being a moderator, let me know. I don't have a set time frame. Maybe I'll work on down the line where I'll try to let you guys know ahead of time before I do videos. I'm still working on my video editing skills. I can do screen capture videos. That's where I can show my computer screen. I've already done some videos like that, but I like to get better with the software where I can show my face in the lower right-hand corner of the video and then show what I'm trying to illustrate, because there's some things that I can relay more credible information to you all that are visual and provide evidence, because I bookmark a lot of news articles and things related to politics, by the way. And I'm thinking about maybe in terms of rebranding my channel, I might go over like a lot of news stuff where I'll be in a form of independent media, maybe DR News Media, which stand for Dorsey's Resource TV, Dorsey's Resource Media, just throwing it out there. And I'll talk about news stuff while also having other topics to discuss. So if you guys have any ideas, it's very helpful. Let me know what you guys want. And then I also want to try to provide good quality content as well, maybe in terms of empowering information for you guys, that you have to ask the question I thought about, why some of your local level politicians are not discussing some of this information, especially Democrats and people. If they want to see you in a better position, why are some of these individuals don't share these secrets with you about investing or purchasing precious metals, and how down the road they can make you, I won't say wealthy, but rich, by the way, because what's going on with the dollar is weakening in value. You're losing your purchasing power. So you have to ask, when these politicians come in town and they pander sometimes and they push the hip hop thing, and they kind of like, it has you distracted in a sense, and they have you in like a euphoria where they're pushing like entertainment. It's this cool laid back thing. There's nothing wrong with, having a laid back atmosphere, but in terms of pandering to people, you also want to give people powerful information that can empower them. And that's what I've done in previous videos. If you pay attention to some of the things that I'm sharing, like about cryptocurrencies or about investing in precious metals, purchasing physical gold and silver. I'm not talking about multi-level marketing or pyramid network marketing stuff. I'm talking about purchasing, if you can afford it, physical silver and gold. You have to ask the question, why are certain individuals not sharing this information with you, by the way? And I've talked about this in some of my more recent videos, by the way, and I can have some down the line. But if you guys have some topics you would like to see me cover, let me know. Just put it out there, by the way. It will help grow the channel and help empower everyone, because you guys have all the power. I'm just simply a messenger relaying the information because I want to see you guys do good. If of course, if I do good, you guys do good. Those who are truly sincere to Dorsey's Resource that's been following me, I do appreciate you guys. We can have this as a win-win situation, and that's what I try to do, is make things a win-win situation where we're empowered and we're getting prepared for what's coming down the road. Because I know many of you all know about prepping and things of that sort, and trying to get prepared for what's coming, by the way. And this is another important avenue where your local media should be going over this information too, by the way. And you have to ask the question, why aren't they sometimes? When you turn on the news, why are they not giving you empowering information? Just putting it out there. So to jump back in the chat, I appreciate the comment, Terrence, about I have to look into that private group chat. So still working on some things to expand and go to the next level. Gretchen Helm says, peace and blessings, fire at Dorsey's Resource. Appreciate you, Gretchen. Thank you for joining. The Lady Tech says, hey, Dorsey, we want you to do a course at the school. Okay, let me know. Is that Lady Bijou? I'm not sure. I remember she had approached me about trying to put together a course, by the way. I'm in the process right now. I have to follow back up with someone. I have a subscriber who's really advanced that has some courses, a class I actually already had took. I was a guest on, by the way, and it wasn't related to that classes I was doing this past summer with the trademark information. This was something different. This was in another area that I think is very empowering, that has a lot of potential, something I've known about some years ago. I'm just not going into the detail yet. I actually had a friend of mine who was a stockbroker that told me about some things related to this information many years ago, but did not follow up with me, where I'm appreciative. I had a subscriber who shared this and actually teaches courses and some other information that's very empowering, by the way. And it's the reason sometimes why I don't mention certain information. I want to warn you guys, there are gatekeepers, minions, and underlinks out there who may not have good intentions, who will try to sabotage this information, who tries to call everyone a sovereign citizen or that studies redemption education. These are mean-spirited people. They're wicked. They do exist. They are out there. And I just want to let you know that's why I don't go as in depth. And I'm still, the Patreon account is up in the air. So if I start a Patreon, that's going to be more private, and I'll be able to go, more in depth with certain topics. I'll be able to, of course, do exclusive videos. I'll be able to provide the links. Well, they'll be only to Patreon members. So just some ideas I have ahead of time before I set that up, guys. So just be patient, bear with me, but that'll give you a sneak preview of what I'll be able to do. And that will keep down on the trolls, because that will force them to have to pay to see my content, the material, when I go over the really high level, potent information that's action packed, by the way. So you guys will have a better understanding what I mean. So appreciate it. Appreciate the comment, Lady Tech. Byron Bo says, hey, Dorsey, have you seen the new rainbow currency yet? Not sure what you're referring to specifically in terms of the rainbow currency. And I'm not familiar with that. If you'd like to elaborate, if you're still in the chat, on what the rainbow currency is, I'm not familiar with that, by the way. State Bound says, no, okay, I'm not sure what you're referring to. HH says, what about to use TalkShoe? I'm familiar with TalkShoe. I wouldn't mind maybe being a guest. I know podcasts are becoming really popular, but I think for the time being, HH, for my brand and expanding, maybe not large enough yet to have a podcast. But if you have any ideas that you would like to share that could be beneficial to helping grow my channel or reaching a larger audience, where I could go, it can be very empowering. I don't mind, I'm all in, I hear you. But I've just looked at TalkShoe. It's kind of like old school. It's just audio based, but it's more so like a podcast. And they have, I know some people I think use SoundCloud as one. I'm not sure how many. Then there's others out there that have become really popular in more recent years. I can't think of the name. Maybe Spotify is one I've heard people do podcasts on there. There's other ones. So that's what that's sort of like. I am familiar, by the way, with TalkShoe. So thanks for the idea. State Bound says some don't know, others don't care. Okay. Yeah, I do get that. Some people honestly don't know about this information, don't know the validity. There is truth behind redemption information, contrary to popular belief. I talk about the legitimate stuff. I don't talk about, the Patriot mythology or scams or stuff out there. I try to give you guys credible information. Like when I've gone over the books for you guys to research, resources like those books that I've shown from previous videos I've done, which you can purchase on Amazon or the website if it's still around, freemake.com, others that will give you a basic blueprint and provide validity. Even one of the books that's more advanced, I actually do have it with me, the older version. They came out with the newer version. By the way, I can actually pull that out in a little bit. I do have it with me, by the way. Okay, says Byron Bo says true. HH says, do you know a safe site to buy gold? By the way, in my opinion, I always recommend when it comes to precious metals, if you're referring to physical precious metals, by the way, I always look up your local coin store. If you've heard LCS, that stands for local coin store. If you get a chance, what I've done recently, this is what I myself have done, is to show, I'm not in a competition, to give you guys very powerful information. There's a lot of channels, YouTube videos that talk about precious metals that I've subscribed to, even myself. And I even had mentioned in the previous video. But to answer your question, HH, so I don't get off track, first you want to find out if there's local coin stores in your area that you live at, because you want to make sure what you're purchasing is not fake, by the way. And I heard that they do fake gold, like they put tungsten or something like that in gold. And I know there's been silver out there. It's just, if you buy online, sometimes you always, I was advised by a person that helped assist me into learning about precious metals, purchasing physical precious metals, that you want to know what you're getting, by the way, and you want to be able to hold it and see the evidence. And then 9 times out of 10, about 99% of the time, your local coin store is not going to cheat you. They might be a little bit higher on the price if you look at the premiums, stuff like that. Always find out what the spot price is. That's the market price, what the current precious metals are trading at. And the premium is kind of like an unofficial tax that's above the spot price, because when it comes to precious metals, there's rules. You have to look up what the laws and stuff are in your state. Also, talk to your local coin store. Now, I have heard some people don't have local coin stores in their area, but I would say don't be afraid to find out in your suburban areas if you can get out there, if you do have transportation. However, if you do have to purchase online, you want to go look up authorized dealers that are credible, that have large clientele. You can look up reviews online. I would check for reviews, but some companies just to throw out there a few. They didn't ask me to do any type of promotion for them, but to answer your question, HH, in the chat section, there's a company called Atmex. I purchased from them in the past. MCM, Modern Coin Mart, I purchased from them. Provident Metal, I don't think I purchased from them before. Gainesfield Coins, I purchased from them. They're based down in Florida. By the way, they're credible. JM Bullion is a credible site. SD Bullion. So you want to look up very credible sites. There's a few others that are out there, but those are a few that I know off the top of the head, by the way, if you do have to purchase online. But you want to familiarize yourself as much as possible, so you want to make sure what you're purchasing is not a fake. So that's why I say be careful purchasing on eBay or Amazon, because you want to make sure what you're purchasing is going to be quality. Now, they do have groups, I've heard, amongst guys who have precious metals channels. Once they get to know each other, there's a certain way that they go about doing it, where they develop trust. But I have heard about even Facebook groups where there are con artists out there you have to be careful of and watch out for. So that's why I say it's best to start at your local coin store in person. Find out the places in your area to purchase precious metals at. You want to start off with regular bullion. I would say don't focus on numismatic. Numismatics are more for collectors. But just if you're a new stacker, just start stacking silver immediately. The price actually dropped, but you want to start, because when people were complaining, for example, when the price went up above 20, like back around sometime in August or whatever, from what I remember, or sometime this past summer, when the price jumped above 20, and I spoke to someone who's knowledgeable, and when the premiums were they went up pretty high back in March for Silver Eagles. That's made by the U.S. Mint, American Silver Eagles. Even though the price had dropped down back in March, which I heard was around the time that there was a stock market had like a plummet, had went down significantly, or like a miniature crash or whatnot. And precious metals prices were also down significantly. However, there wasn't as much supplies in supply. And remember, there's only so much above ground silver. Silver is used in a lot of electronic devices. Silver is going to be highly sought after. It has industrial purposes. So down the road, it's projected that silver might even surpass. I'm not saying this, but don't be surprised It could be, 10, 15, 20 years, maybe even less than that. Could surpass the price of gold one day because of its industrial use. It's used in cell phones, calculators, televisions, medical supplies, solar panels, etc. You can look it up. Silver has a lot of industrial use, and it's still dirt cheap, even for $29 an ounce. I was listening to Mike Maloney, and he said silver's still a steal. So people will be complaining when silver, which hit $49 an ounce at one time, because it's bound to happen. Once silver hits $50 an ounce or even 100, people are going to say they wish they bought in now when it just plummeted from 27 down to 24 bucks an ounce. They got in. So you're retaining your purchasing power of your dollar because these Federal Reserve notes that we carry, only reason the dollar it went down is it's strengthening, but there was a sell-off because you have people playing a paper game with the COMEX market, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, by the way. And I understand some people do both. They're into futures. However, I was told that they won't be able to last forever. That paper game that they're playing, I actually did a screen capture video about how Scotiabank got caught manipulating the price of precious metals. They were caught spoofing. They're based in Canada, by the way, and they had to pay a large fine, which is really like a slap on the wrist to them when the banks have billions, if not trillions of dollars. And if you know about fractional reserve banking, where they pull money out of thin air, by the way, and they can loan up to 90% of what people have on deposit. So say if you have $10,000 on deposit, they can loan up to 10,000 or whatnot, or quite a bit. So keep in mind, when you exchange your fiat dollar for physical precious metals, whether it be silver or gold, by the way, you're helping retain your purchasing power as the dollar down the road, as it weakens, the strength of the dollar weakens in value because of inflation. If you study up on hyperinflation, and I heard it's pretty scary that they're talking about hyperinflation coming, which has happened in other countries, by the way. If you know, when you study the banking system. So I advise everyone out there, if you haven't started, now's the time before it's too late. If you have a large sum, I would say, in my opinion, take a portion of your money, put some aside in case, if you project any emergencies. Just have a certain amount of Federal Reserve notes to the side, but you want to diversify your portfolio, in my opinion. Now, I want to also say, to give a disclaimer, I'm not a legal financial advisor, so this is not financial or legal advice. These are my opinions. In the event you feel you need to seek a financial broker, financial advisor, or lawyer, a consultant, whomever, please do so at your own leisure. I'm just sharing my opinion from experience, but as being a wise investor would be try to have like a rainy day fund, an emergency fund. Always have something to the side in case, if you had and didn't anticipate your tire went flat, you had to get a new tire, or you had car issues. However, there's experienced precious metals people that have purchased physical gold and silver already, that if they have sometimes those emergencies, that's when sometimes they'll go and sell back at their local LCS coin store. Even some online bullion dealers even will buy back your silver and gold. The only difference is you may have to pay the cost to have it mailed, by the way. And they may cut you a check, by the way. So, that's, just have a backup plan just in case, a rainy day fund or emergency happens. But I would say now is the time before it gets, really super high. When people are complaining the price of silver being $24 an ounce, wait till it gets $50 an ounce. People are going to look back and say, hey, I wished I bought in when it was, at this price or even lower. Some people already having regrets, by the way. So that's my thoughts, HH. Very good question in the comment section. Do you know a safe site to buy gold? So I went over ATMEX is a reliable site. Think Gainesville Coins, Modern Coin Mart, Provident Metal, SD Bullion, JM Bullion, just to name a few. And there's others out there as well, by the way. Gretchen Helm says you're welcome. Okay. The lady tech says I would love to be a moderator. Just give me a call when you finish up. Okay. Got you. Appreciate it. King Terrence says Guy Fox it. Okay. If that's what you're pronouncing, I'm not sure. Says the lady tech says, what do you think about the Utah Gold Bucks? I'm not familiar with it. If you like to elaborate, feel free to elaborate on what the Utah Gold Bucks are. I haven't heard of that yet. Sounds like something if it's a currency backed by precious metal, maybe sounds like they're on the right path. Digger 420 says only mine. Okay, are you talking about mining stocks? Because I've heard some people purchase mining stocks, by the way, unless you're talking about mining cryptocurrency. Not sure when you say only mine. Okay, Myeritz 06 says the Kennedy conspiracy had all to do with silver. Okay, yes. Remember Kennedy passed an executive order, believe it was 11-11-00, that put us on the Treasury standard because we never really needed. The Federal Reserve was a third-party entity, and the Treasury dealt with our government, where our U.S. government could print the money itself. Remember the Federal Reserve, that was part of the Rothschild hustle. They Amschel Bauer sent his 5 sons to different countries to sell them on saying, hey, we'll print your money for you. Kind of like a lawyer says, hey, I can represent you, but if you learn the law yourself or become proficient yourself, you can defend yourself in court. Or if you kind of learn how to become a mechanic and work on cars yourself, you can do the majority of the work, unless it's maybe difficult stuff like engines, putting transmissions in, you might need extra help or whatever. But you guys get the saying. So we never needed the third party outside entity, the Federal Reserve, to really print our money. So Kennedy, they say, was one of the reasons he was assassinated. He did things that went against the deep state during his time period. And he had the United States notes printed up, which you can still buy the memorabilia currency at coin shops that have the red on the printed, which I have some in my possession as like memorabilia, by the way, like on some of the older Federal Reserve notes they had, instead of the green, the notes that Kennedy had, the United States notes, and they were interest free. I hear it was even more powerful than the gold and silver certificates because it didn't have interest attached to it. So he was effectively dismantling the Federal Reserve. And, of course, the bankers were tied in with that. But I'll let individuals out there do their own research and homework. But there's many of you all who do know the history, the story on that. So, yes, there is a connection with that. Thank you for that comment. Myeritz 06. HH says, thanks, brother. This is Humberto, Las Vegas old group. Hey, Humberto, greetings to you. And I want to say, I appreciate it. I did receive the email. I know it was a while before you responded, but I want to say big shout out to you. I thought about you. I haven't forgot about you, Humberto. Big shout out, brother. Hope all is well out there. I'm not sure if you're in the California area. I remember you mentioned you were part of the Las Vegas group. So, gracias, senor, Humberto. Appreciate you. Namaste, by the way. Sandra Weeks says, hi, this is Sandra. Agree with you about silver. I just got on. Please be able to have your physical silver in your possession. Yes, very good point. By the way, you want to have physical precious metals. I know gold is more expensive if you can, but there's a lot of stackers out there from channels I've watched that had gold in their videos that recommend you should do both. Some people say you should allocate a certain percentage, have like maybe 5% or 10% of your stack maybe in gold, and then your other stack in silver. So I think, in my opinion, you want to do both. And remember, you can do fractionalized pieces where 1 ounce will be more expensive. Because, gold broke a record not too long ago when it went over 2,000, but the market is down along with silver. It's just hovering above 1,900, but it's still around 2,000 because of the premium, which is like $100. It has a higher premium. Let's say if you're buying an ounce, but if you're buying bars, you're going to pay a less premium, but bars are going to be a lot more expensive though. Just keep that in mind. but you can buy like half ounces, you can buy quarter ounces, you can buy like 1/8 ounces, you can even buy grams, by the way. So just keep that in mind. I think in Europe, the concept of grams is based on a European system. They use the grams, where over here we use ounces, but you have, they call fractionalized pieces. So I notice a lot of stackers, and then that's a smart decision, that all the stackers out there that's broken up their supply that have gold, they're putting themselves in a very good position. And gold, the one thing that, even though silver percentage wise is doing good, but in the long term, gold has actually done very well. When you look at the long term charts of gold, people who've held physical gold, by the way, has held steady, has climbed overall in the long run, even though silver has done good in the short term. Because remember, silver is manipulated because of the futures market. Like, for example, Chicago, the COMEX exchange, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, you know, they're manipulating the prices. I was told someone a while ago, a bank bought up $1 billion worth of contracts that artificially push the price down, that causes suppression. And then some of the investors do sell-offs. That's why some speculators out there saying why the current market price of silver has pushed down, went from 27 when it looked like it was on its way up. But I think the markets will recover. There's always going to be a correction, but we could see another bull run. We were already in the midst of a bull run, and it looks like we're actually seeing the pullbacks now. Like, they're definitely playing with the market, by the way. Sandra Week says they are now putting chips in silver, and I say no thank you. The company I'm with will give you a free 1 gram of silver free for taking a tour of the website. May I post it? Okay. Now, I don't mind if you post it. However, I think I've heard of if it's carrot bars, by the way. And I had another friend. I know several people that are doing carrot bars. People I met, a couple in person. By the way, one person used to stay up in this state where I'm at. And I prefer, me personally, and I advise everyone, learn as much as you can first. But it has worked for some people, so I'm not knocking if it has worked. I think carrot bars, if that is, I'm not sure if that's what it is. It's set up more like a network marketing, MLM. That's what Sherry Peel Jackson got involved with many years ago. I remember she was in Aaron Russo's documentary called Freedom to Fascism. She was also a guest on Alex Jones's show many years ago, by the way. And she was had went through an ordeal. She used to be an agent, used to work for the IRS. Just to give you a little background, there was a guy from Germany that contacted her, that put her on to the carrot bar. So I do know people that are involved. However, for someone like myself right now, I feel like it's too late in the game, sort of. So, but I do have several friends that people that I know that are invested in that. I have one friend, he's like on the same page as me, but I just advise to just do the physical. But there's other types of investments, many types of investments people get involved in, and I'm not pushing or pumping any particular type of investment. I always encourage everyone to do their research and homework. That's why I do give a disclaimer, by the way. But I myself will say, do as much research and homework as possible before you jump into anything. But when it comes to precious metals, in my opinion, you have a lot of silver stacking channels. Many of them have silver in the name. By the way, I'm subscribed to Yankee Stacking. I'm subscribed to a guy named Silver Joker that's based in Ohio. I think Yankee Stacker might be based in New York. I'm subscribed to International Stacker. Where there's one guy, I think he may be based in England, the UK, called Backyard Bullion. By the way, it's a lot of different silver stacking. And then YouTube and the feed will recommend, and these different channels will help provide the proper education that you need to show you guys. I'm not getting paid for this, not even by all of those channels I mentioned, by the way. You know, they didn't ask me. I haven't met them personally, but I did have some people that came over here that said, when I did a video not too long ago about silver, that said they would follow my content, which I appreciate, but my content is mainly It's not geared towards that, but I'm just mentioning to empower you guys, give you all empowering information to prepare for what's coming down the pipeline, by the way. And it's important that a lot of people purchase physical silver before the price gets too high. I was also told some years ago it would help, you know, stop with the manipulation, because it's only so much physical silver that's above ground. Remember, some people believe that silver might actually pass the price of gold one day, might surpass it, because silver is highly used. It has industrial use. And because of the manipulation, the miners even had trouble, you know, keeping a profit. I heard some mines had to shut down. And it's even hard for, I understand, for why certain coin shops have to charge a little bit more for their premium, because I've heard, because in this recent bull market, there's been more people buying silver despite people selling physical silver in terms of the physical market. By the way, a lot of people are holding right now. So you're seeing less and less silver supply. It's dwindling down. And silver, what I like, has intrinsic value. When you look up the history of silver, it's historically true money. It's really real actual money. Like, for example, once again, this fiat dollar, this is not real currency. This is a Federal Reserve note, which is copywritten by the Federal Reserve. This is fiat. This is an IOU, promissory note. You know, greenbacks, as some call them. This is just our faith when we exchange, or even a $50 bill. It's our faith to exchange when we give someone a 50. What makes this a 50? You know, by the way, even though this is printed on a certain special type of paper, by the way, cotton, by the way, but what gives this value is to exchange these $50 bills or $1 singles is our faith in this note. But this could fail one day. But one thing about precious metals, gold and silver, that is actual money that has intrinsic value, has store value. It's a store of wealth, by the way. So when you're seeing the price of like your milk at your local grocery store, you see the price of bread, eggs, the price shoot up. This is weakening. The strength of the dollar is losing its value. It's going down. Now, more recently, sometimes when you see the price of precious metals go down, the value of the dollar is increasing in strength. But over time, we know when the Federal Reserve announces or makes an announcement that they're going to raise interest rates, by the way, when you study more in depth dealing with the banking system, we know that this is designed to fail. This is FRN. This is attached to the electronic system, attached to fractional reserve banking. Fiat. Remember, this was not originally backed by gold, by precious metals, even though they tell you the story about Fort Knox, this, that, and the other. Now, I heard the new currency, because this gets into a whole nother discussion. Now, I don't know too much about how that Nasera stuff is going to play out, in my opinion. Just giving you guys an example. But you guys, everyone out there, if you haven't done it, you want to do this ASAP. This is very powerful, potent information, no matter who you are. You can thank me one day, thank me later. But how many people are your politicians telling you this? This is empowering information. You know, I'm not getting anything other than maybe just my YouTube AdSense. That's it after this video uploads. Even though the topic of this video is based on something else. But other than cryptocurrencies, because you want to diversify your portfolio, you want to purchase physical silver and gold if you can afford it. I know gold is more expensive, but silver is still dirt cheap. And remember, constitutional silver is cheaper. So if you can't afford 1 ounce silver rounds or generic silver or silver eagles, which has a higher premium, you can buy fractional silver like the old mercury dimes that used to be in circulation that predate 1964 on back. That's 90% silver that some refer to as constitutional silver or called junk silver. I was at a coin shop not too long ago, by the way, where I picked up 2 silver Britannias and 2 silver Canadian maple leafs, and I looked over and I saw a guy was buying up a whole bunch of junk silver. It looked like maybe mercury dimes, Washington quarters, Franklin $half, Kennedy $half. By the way, I said, wow, you know, he's doing the right thing, because in the future, when there's hyperinflation and this weakens and starts to dwindle, and you're seeing prices, gas price go up to scary $5, $8 a gallon, and people are going to be doing like this, like, oh no, what do I do? You know, but if you had, you know, physical precious metals, they can help retain, where if you go to sell it, trade it back, you'll get more of these, you know, fiat as a way to a form of exchange. So you have more of these, so you're not losing just storing these in a savings account, which is not hardly drawing any interest. By the way, storing precious metals also forces you in a way to save unofficially. It has a store of value, intrinsic value. You can look up the history. Don't take my word for what I'm saying. Just go online, look up the history of silver. It goes all the way back to ancient times, and gold as well. Look up the value. That is actual real money. It's silver and gold, and silver has a very good, awesome history behind it. By the way, you know, healing properties too, and as far as being antimicrobial. Now, I'm not saying you can eat it. That's where you have colloidal silver, which is different, but it has certain properties, and historically was used as money. By the way, going back to Roman times. By the way, don't take my word for what I'm saying. If you look it up, you'll find out. So silver is very important, and I stress to everyone, go out there, at least buy 1 ounce silver round if you can. Maybe 2 ounces, whatever you can afford. And this will be some of the greatest information. If you were to not sell it back, I guarantee maybe at least 5 years from now, might not even take 5 years from now, that 1 ounce coin that you bought, that let's say it's going for $24 per ounce is the market rate. Let's say the premium, some coin shops may charge $3 above the spot price. Some might charge $4, so you might be spending $28, $29, let's say $30 for, like, say 1 round. Let's say you were to hold that 1 round and wait 5 years from now. May not even take that long, but just wait 5 years from now. I probably pretty much could probably guarantee you that 1 ounce round that you bought today at your local coin store or bought online could be worth, if not in triple digit range, 100, 500, 600. It could be $1,000 easily. It might not even take that many years. And you say, wow, if you just bought 1 ounce silver round, and you held on, or 1 silver eagle, American silver eagle, or 1 Canadian maple leaf, or 1 silver Britannia, whatever you're choosing, or Mexican Libertad. I think that's the name of their silver round or whatever, or was it Australian Philharmonic, by the way, Australian Cougaran. You know, I may be mixed up a little bit, but you guys that know precious metals, if you just bought that 1 round and say that was the only coin, silver coin you bought, and you held on to it, and you said, I'm not selling it, you bought it at $30 right now, and you waited 5 years from now, maybe it could take 3 years, I could pretty much guarantee you that's going to probably be worth, even after that manipulation that fails, and you know, because I heard that's not going to be able to last forever. You could be looking at triple digits, if not in the 4-digit range. Pretty much can guarantee. And imagine beyond, when, because of the industrial use, that silver is used in cell phones, calculators, computers, batteries. It has industrial use, solar panels, medical supplies. It's electronics. It's used in, and the industrial demand is increasing. And there's, I heard, one country, I think it was Japan, has a contract with a mining company, by the way, which worldwide could cause the prices to go up. Or say if a big hedge fund buys like a big contract or whatever, could drive prices up or whatnot. You know, because of they know that the usage of it is going to be important, just like copper. Like where copper is a good conductor. Why copper is used in a lot of plumbers and people will tell you that do carpentry type work. You know, and that will be like the silver in the future. You can apply the same concept to copper. It just may take longer just like Digibyte is to Bitcoin. That's what copper is to like maybe Ethereum and Litecoin or Bitcoin Cash. Copper will be like that, will be the silver of the future. So there's people already stacking copper now. There's some people that are keeping their copper pennies from, I think, what, 1982 on back. Not the ones that are copper coated, but the ones that are actual, you can tell the difference they have by the weight and the color to it, the thickness are copper, by the way. You know, you'll be putting yourself in a good position financially to retain your purchasing power as the fiat, as this is decreasing, as the dollar is weakening in strength, you know, losing its value that it has. You'll be putting yourself in a good predicament, by the way. So let me get back to the chat section. I didn't mean to rant for you guys. Sometimes that's a good rant. I like to give you guys empowering information, provide you guys quality content. In case you're joining me, I am your host, John Dorsey, the third to be more specific, at Dorsey's Resource. If you haven't, please hit the thumbs up button. It's an unofficial way of voting. I appreciate you all. If you can subscribe, please hit the notification bell in the lower right-hand corner of the video. So whenever I put out new videos, YouTube will notify you. You can subscribe to me at Dorsey's Resource. I also have a backup channel called Dorsey's Resource Channel 2, by the way, which is linked to this channel, by the way. So go on in, if you get a chance, and subscribe to me over there. So down the road, you know, I can build that channel up, have a backup for you guys. Also, you can follow me on Facebook at Dorsey's Resource. I'm also on Twitter at Dorsey's Resource as well. And I'm also on Instagram.com. That's my more laid back side, my more liberal side, by the way. Twitter is my more conservative side, by the way, in terms of politics, even though I'm not a registered voter, by the way. And that's a whole nother discussion. I did a video about that on my other channel. So if you guys go subscribe over there, you can check it out. I'm maybe even doing a redo of that video, by the way. So there's things that I know, but what I told you guys about the precious metals, especially if you have the money already, I wouldn't hesitate. If you're somebody, you may already be in a good position where you make $20, $30 an hour. And your bills or debt that you have to pay is very low. You know, I would definitely be purchasing physical precious metals, in my opinion. And you'll be putting yourself up and your children. There's a way you can pass down generational wealth too, by the way. So thank you for the comment, Sandra Weeks. She says, you're absolutely right about the earth is being depleted of silver. By the way, okay, yeah, sounds like you're knowledgeable. Mexico has a good reserve of silver. That's good information. Mirrors 06 says silver will surpass gold one day. Sandra Week says, yes, I agree, because of the industrial use. Because see, gold is hoarded too. It's another thing. And but because of the industrial use, it's predicted in Cliff High's Webbot report, by the way, or some of the woo sources out there down the road that have taken looksies, and mediums and people that are into the extrasensory perception or remote viewing have projected that there's going to come a point in time, I've even had some subscribers mention this, where people might even be contacted and may sell back their silver when it becomes so much in demand that it may go through a phase where people won't want to sell it back because it's going to be so valuable that, you know, you'll be able to set up contracts with industrial suppliers, and you're seeing the price boom skyrocket, by the way, even beyond, you know, kind of like what happened you know, with Bitcoin some years ago. Remember, Bitcoin started real low and it's still projected to go up real sky high. But Bitcoin is kind of, they can manipulate that market too. But you know, it's gonna you're gonna be putting yourself in a very good predicament one day. Sandra Week says, those are the ones that I purchased. Everyone that you name, very industrious. Okay, awesome. You're putting yourself in a very good predicament. The lady text says, I use a silver round for my proof of financial responsibility in my car. It is attached to my 21 silver dollar surety bond. get 21 ounces pre-1965 silver coin to do this. Okay, excellent. Thank you for that information. I am aware of that, how you can use silver and attach that to your common law express trust, the specific types of trust that some of the elites use, the wealthy super elite, by the way, and even constitutional gold, by the way, that predates 1933. By the way, they have different usage for it. You can attach the contract. It's a way to tie it in and file it with the county, put it on public record. By the way, so that's very smart. But thanks for that, sharing that. Free World 227 says, Dorsey, where should you store your dinar money instead of a bank? By the way, that's a good question. By the way, in my opinion, as everyone should know, wherever would be a good place, and this will be up to every individual person to make their own assessment, where one would store his valuables. They have videos about that. What, of course, obviously, what one maybe would want to look into. I've heard different stories from people. One guy I met at a coin show years ago. This could apply to money. I've seen people bury capsules before. I've seen people, some people might want to bury it. Some people have different philosophies. Some people put it in safes. Some people bury it somewhere. Some people put it in, have safe rooms built. Some people store it somewhere where they think it's going to be reliable or whatever, that's protected by armed security. By the way, some people suggest safety deposit boxes. Some people don't, because some people think if there's a bank holiday or whatever, you won't be able to get access if you need to sell it. And they only allow you maybe to store a certain amount because it's only so much room you have in a safety deposit box unless you're storing it at multiple banks. But there's a concept where some people might not put all of their precious metals. They might put a portion and have a portion somewhere else. So in case you lost one, you wouldn't lose the other, by the way. Because I heard like the very wealthy, like the super rich, when I was looking at a video that pertained to, I won't say the names, but I could say some wealthy individuals, they don't put all their eggs in one basket. They have different avenues of investment sources. They might be in terms, it might be in real estate. One other asset might be in precious metals. I noticed this famous wealthy family has a lot of their assets inside their home in the form of artwork. Some people have, where, let's say if the banks collapse, they could sell back their artwork or whatever. And then they have it insured, by the way, which is real deep, by Lloyd's of London. So even if that failed, they had insurance behind it to back that up, by the way. So they use multiple streams or multiple forms of how they diversify their wealth, by the way. But that's a decision that one would have to make themselves. And I did give a disclaimer, this is not financial or legal advice. However, one has to make their own assessment. However, that is a good question about if you were to store your dinars or whatever you feel that you have is valuable. You have to make that determination. But I would say there's videos on YouTube you can look up about safes. I was watching a video of a guy that's a locksmith, and there's interesting ideas people have about. Some people have different strategies. I won't mention some of the things that I know personally or what I may use, but they also say you want to have 3 layers of protection or multiple layers. For example, it would be good to have a pet. Some people have a dog, a Rottweiler, a pit bull, or a husky, a bouvier, one that you know is going to defend your property. That if there's an intruder, it's going to fight back, it's going to bite someone, especially a Rottweiler, which I've heard their pounds of pressure, they can bite at 330 pounds of pressure. Then some people as a backup may have a firearm. So on top of the Rottweiler getting to the intruder, if there's multiple intruders, they might have a firearm. It might not just be a pistol. They might have an AR on top of it where they can transition. They might even have, on top of all of that, their property might be a gated community, or they might have fenced gates. They might, and we're not even talking about if the intruder got to the safe yet, or where the safe is at. If the safe is built in a wall or it's not even removable, But they always say, in terms of safety, have multiple layers of protection. or a room that has a lock, additional lock on it with the safe, or multiple locks, or a safe within a safe. There's different strategies that people use to protect their assets and things of that sort. Like I said, some people bury it or whatever. One guy I talked to, you know, was talking about like with preps and stuff like that, because that gets into the whole prepping survival, I would say preparedness discipline, where some people, I was hearing, I don't, me personally, I don't see, you know, they mention, I don't see the how this would work myself, but they mention about abandoned houses or homes or whatever that they stored certain things in. And I thought that that was pretty risky, by the way, because what if that property is demolition or bulldoze? How would you get back unless you knew how to, you know, if you knew how to retrieve it from where you buried it, unless you put it in the backyard of that house in case that place was bulldozed. But what if the debris had covered the backyard part? And in terms of how would you get to it if there was immediate access? You know, if you needed to have immediate access to, say, if it was precious metals and you needed to sell some back, if it was gold in there. So you want to also be able to think where you want to also be able to have access to what it is. But in terms of safety, they always say multiple layers of protection are good. Dogs are always good. Kudos, commend everyone that has a pet, that has a dog, because that's the start. You know, that deters people. Pit bulls, Rottweilers. In some places, pit bulls might not be allowed, but Rottweilers, you have other types of dogs. German Shepherds, by the way. Of course, how could I forget the German Shepherds? Many different types that, but you know, will be designed, would defend your property. And then people use firearms, and we're not even talking about, you know, fence or barriers protecting the property on top of that. Also, you know, someone that, if you know it was someone that you trust, by the way, or a relative that stayed in the same place, that understood, you know, the security mechanisms, that would help, because there's as a deterrent, there's power in numbers, or neighbors in your area or your community, by the way, that could report you're helping, where there's power in numbers for the bad guys. That makes it more difficult, by the way. So hopefully I helped answer your question, where you mentioned in storing your valuables. Free World 227 says okay. You're welcome. Well, guys, just to let you know, it is also Q&A session. Appreciate you guys. Don't forget to thumbs up the video if you haven't. This is the time to, it's also Q&A session. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, please feel free to chime in. I was supposed to be going over, I'm going to be doing a follow-up video as to the reason why I'm returning to YouTube, and the reason being, of course, is that I was told recently a couple times they didn't mind me doing the videos, but once again, they didn't want me mentioning the name of that event or individuals associated with that event, which I understand, I do respect, but I am going to go over. I don't have my notes with me, so that's why I'm going to have to do a follow-up video probably tomorrow or down the road if I don't get around to it tomorrow. Maybe be looking for it Thursday or Friday, but hopefully tomorrow. But just to give you guys a heads up, there's going to be a follow-up, and I do plan on going over. I had a plethora of notes. I just don't have those notes with me now. I have a lot of information I wanted to cover to explain my reasons in returning and why I felt, you know, I'm doing so, because I didn't want to go back and forth and felt like I was in a catch-22 situation. Very tough predicament that I'm in, by the way, that I felt, you know, so it is for what it is. So once again, this is last call. Guys, don't hesitate. You guys have any questions or concerns, comments, do not hesitate. Feel free to jump in the chat. I'm here to answer you guys' questions that you have. By the way, I'll do my level best. Okay, Sandra Week says, thank you, Dorsey. Powerful information. Appreciate you. Thank you for the confirmation. Sonia Johnson says, hello, Dorsey. Glad you're still here. Okay, thanks for all your intel. You're welcome. Appreciate it. Christy Isaac says, I'm glad you're still with us too. Appreciate you. Namaste. Thank you. So once again, if you haven't, you can follow me on YouTube at Dorsey's Resource. By the way, I have a backup channel too at Dorsey's Resource Channel 2. By the way, it's linked to this channel. If you haven't subscribed, you can go on over there, and I appreciate it. Make sure you hit the notification bell so whenever I put out new videos, new content, you will receive the update. You can also, if you want to follow me on social media, I'm on Facebook at Dorsey's Resource. I'm also on Twitter at Dorsey's Resource, and I'm on Instagram at Dorsey's Resource _2019. By the way, Mirrors 06 says government conspiracy. Okay, what are you referring to that? By the way, is that a question? Mirrors, if you're still watching, let me know. Once again, guys, don't hesitate. Jump into the chat. Don't be afraid. This is the best time to reach me, by the way. The best time. Because emails, when I get them in, I may be busy, you know, handling other things. I might not be able to respond as quickly, by the way. And I do have new guidelines I did go over, by the way. Make sure you check the description box of the video after it uploads. All of my most recent videos, I have instructions in terms of, excuse me, contacting me. So this is the only time I will say actually where I will be taking questions. A few subscribers, few people are exempted because of the level that they're at. I'm at a certain level in this when it comes to this type of redemption information. I am looking to try to reach greater levels of my education and sharing what I've come across. And, you know, just to be transparent with you guys, because I want to let you guys know that these same rules will apply to myself as far as having good checks and balances. So we're all on the same page. So if you guys do want to contact me for private coaching, you can check the description box. I say for serious inquiries only, but the private coaching, that I will answer any questions. Also, I have webinars privately, documents I may be able to send to you, by the way, which would be extra incentives, by the way. But it depends on your unique circumstance or situation. But just putting it out there for those who do have questions, those are my new guidelines, by the way. So check the description box because I do have a busy schedule, of course. So with that being said, I see if I don't have any more questions in general, I'm going to get ready to shut things down, by the way. So let me jump back in. So Mirrors Mortez 06 says government conspiracy. I'm not sure what you're referring to. He says, okay, he says in general, if you have any important info. Okay. Cool. I'll try to I'll go over that in a bit. Let me read these other comments. Sonia Johnson says, hello, Dorsey. Glad you're still okay. Mentioned that already. Saul G says, thanks for all that you do for us. Appreciate it. Okay, in general, just keep your eyeglasses on, Murits. There's been some things in the news. I don't know in terms of saying government conspiracy, anything I can think of offhand, because I don't have my notes in front of me, but I am going off the top of the head, so this is sort of like a freestyle. I did see in the news that they declared several states anarchist jurisdictions, so I found that to be quite interesting, by the way. You know, I guess in terms of like the, you know, riots and stuff that took place, but just keep your eyeglasses on, stay observant, stay watchful, prepare for what's coming down the pipeline, by the way. But there's not anything I can think of. It's kind of like sometimes I get, you know, blank because when I don't have my notes in front of me. Okay, well, I do have a question in here. Saul G says, should I exchange at my bank when the rate changes for the currencies, or should I do it elsewhere? In my opinion, Saul G, if you don't feel comfortable, I heard, because some people don't believe the 800 numbers are scams, then yeah, I will wait, you know, until it hits the banks. That's the market rate, or till it goes international. I was even advised by some individuals out there who mentioned that's what they're going to do, because some people don't believe the 800 numbers. They think that that's a scam, and I'm just like you guys when it comes to that. I don't know, you know. However, I've given my opinion. I do think there's validity behind the 800 numbers. I don't think there's two top gurus that don't necessarily get along with each other that's mentioned slightly different intel, and they both have said that they've talked about 800 numbers, unless the people at the top who are controlling things have changed things at the last minute. I don't know. But however, it wouldn't hurt to do what's safe. Maybe once it goes international, yeah, it wouldn't hurt to wait. But you have to do what's best for you at the end of the day. This is why I do give a disclaimer. I'm just giving my opinion and sharing, you know, in my assessment and evaluation. However, try to use the best judgment possible, what you feel comfortable in your heart, what you feel is best for you. And I think you should be fine. But it may be safer if you wait, you know, waiting for it to hit the international rate and just do it at a bank. That's perfectly fine, I think, in my opinion. Because there was banks, it was proven, that did sell this currency at one time. And there's receipts to back that up. And not just banks, but even foreign currency exchange, brick and mortar locations, by the way. That's been verified. And we do have receipts to back that up. But for those out there who want to say that this is a scam, this, that, and the other, I'm here, you know, I've already addressed that and debunked that. But just in providing validity, I try to be thorough with you guys. So you guys have any more comments or questions or concerns? Once again, any questions you have, this is why I have these Q&A sessions. This is the best time to reach me, because other than that, I don't answer questions anymore through my email. You guys have to go through the instructions, which I have in the description box after this video uploads, for private coaching, private consultation, and you won't be let down. There'll be no holds bar. Whatever you want to know, you know, if you feel I'm knowledgeable, I can be of assistance, I'll help you out. And sometimes I even share documents and things of that sort. But there are additional costs if I had to send additional webinars, because that is time consuming, and also takes on additional bandwidth and data as well to send those big files. Some of those are large files that take several hours on my end to upload, but sometimes they help provide validity behind research that I've already done, my homework that I'm relaying to show the evidence if you guys do pay for private coaching or consultation. Just putting it out there. Says, okay, Mirrors06 says, I've heard that such as Breonna Taylor's County, Louisville. Okay, I heard about that situation, that they shut the city down because in terms of the verdict. I don't know. They said it was expected to come yesterday evening. Was whatever's supposed to happen with the officers involved in that situation. I don't know about. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to play out, that particular situation, but I understand they took precautions down there in case that they said that there's going to be, based on if they're, I guess if they're not charged, I'm assuming, and people, they're going to still be upset or nut up. And that situation, by the way, I don't really address some of those issues. I have talked about stuff pertaining to social justice vaguely. And if you guys want to know my political standings, it is something I do like to talk about. However, I said maybe I have to do a separate video down the road, but I could address it because this is still part of Q&A session. I didn't have my other notes, but to address that situation, I do follow Officer Brandon Tatum. As far as my political views, by the way, I do lean more to the right. I was formerly, in case you guys are wondering, I used to be a Democrat. I canceled my voter registration back in 2004. No longer a registered voter. I do not participate, don't have any plans, but I don't want to discourage you. It's just my reasons. I don't want to be attached to the negative consequences of being a registered voter, because there are consequences behind the scenes. That is a contract. By the way, I did a video on my other YouTube channel, my backup channel. If you guys go over there, subscribe to, you can check that out. It's Dorsey's Resource Channel 2. And if I had uploaded that video over here, I would have had way more views, by the way, to drop a jewel. But in case you guys are wondering, I did read some of the information. I think that guy that Breonna was living with, she put him in a bad predicament when they did the no-knock warrant. I heard he shot at the police, and that's the reason she got caught up in a crossfire. No, she did not, I think, did not deserve to die, just like a lot of people. But however, I will say this, when you are part of certain lifestyles, and this is no knock to anyone, if you're participating, you know, you have to deal with the consequences of these decisions that people make. By the way, and years ago, I could go into some of my history Personally, I've known years ago. I'm not gonna try to be like on some type of moral high horse. I wasn't always the most perfect kid. By the way, I said everybody goes through like their rebellion years. You know, a lot of people grow up, they beef with their parents at one point in time, or you know, because you're young, you know, you want to live your life. But when you get caught up in the lifestyle, they call living that life. You know, she was they call supposedly running a trap house, because this is pretty known in the black community. A lot of black women hold drugs and stuff for their boyfriends and stuff like that. You got to deal with the consequences of that situation. And there was even a death that was even associated in one of the cars that she owned, that was registered in her name, that someone died. And I heard some other instances where you know, these people, sometimes police are just trying to do their job and they got injured or get hurt. And there's some people, they don't want to work or make an honest living. They want to take the easy way. I don't necessarily, I won't call it the easy way, because I had some of these same temptations many years ago. By the way, I was in a situation some years back where I had a landlord at the time, and I had assistance in getting out the situation. And there was someone from the black conscious community that was connected to the Shrine of the Black Madonna at the time, who I mentioned. I won't say his name, but I was, it's like I felt like I was in a movie, but I was living with my best friends. One of my best friends I grew up with, his cousin had presented me an opportunity, and things started off smooth, the way they lure you in. By the way, and as a black male, I had to make a decision at one time, because I had known drug dealers prior to this guy. And when you're young, you know, and you kind of want to be cool, you know, they were pushing, of course, the hip hop culture in the black community. It's really pushed, and there's dreams. A lot of kids have aspirations and dreams and want to be like what they see in the movies. But in real life, when you're involved, engaged in some of these activities, it's not safe, and it can be very dangerous. And I think, in my opinion, you have to be able to recognize the consequences of putting yourself in these situations. So the reason I'm telling this story with a friend of mine, one of my best friends, when I moved in, his older cousin was my landlord. I paid rent to a house. To make a long story short, I found out later down the road, allegedly he approached me with this proposition. He wanted me to be a mule, basically to run drugs. And I still, to this day, I didn't understand that. My mentor, my sensei who trained me in martial arts, and he found that out at the time, who was separate from the individual who helped get me out of this situation, by the way, because the individual was trying to strong arm me. It was dangerous. And he said I would be making like several thousand, and I would be able to help my mother out, this, that, and the other. But I saw that as like, I'm not taking the easy way out. I worked in security at the time, even back then. I worked different types of jobs throughout the years. But I said I had to make a conscientious decision, you know, because he had me get a car hooked up in my name, which I thought originally it was for one of his relatives that had died. By the way, I thought he was, when he used to say he was going to have me be a driver, I thought he was talking about like I was going to be like what people do nowadays for Uber or Lyft, but I thought it was going to be like for Metro cars or something pertaining to that. I didn't know it was going to be involving me where I would be like a real life transporter, by the way, a mule. So I turned the opportunity down because I understood a level of conscience at the time, and I had already made previous decisions. If you go down this pathway, even though life may be rough for you, being a black man, of course, obviously it is for what it is, that I was advised by another elder who was positive. He said, work hard no matter what, even if you have to work 2 jobs, you know, to not sell out, by the way. But that's, some people take it as the easy way, but sometimes that lifestyle, a lot of times it's short-lived, by the way. There's many stories. There's only a few people that may have been able to be successful in the drug game, and that's what she was involved with. Her boyfriend, he was connected. I read some of the case that Brandon Tatum, former officer out of Arizona, he has a big YouTube channel, over 1 million subscribers, big influence. But in terms of my political views, I can speak honestly. Being a black man, I would vote for Trump. It wouldn't have been no question versus Hillary Clinton, by the way. in my opinion. Castleton. So just going over my political views, by the way, is if I had the opportunity, the decision to let you guys know, the reason I'm telling that story is to show that I've been in situations. There's other situations I can mention that I've been involved in that have been, dangerous. So like I said, I don't want to sound like I'm on a moral high horse, but I felt, in my opinion, at the time, I don't practice identity politics. By the way, I do have compassion for people who are in these movements. I understand where both sides are coming from. When we have a real honest discussion about politics, can we be honest at the end of the day? I do think that there does need to be some type of reform, police reform. By the way, I do think I did listen to the Attorney General, William Barr. A lot of people in the black community may not be aware of this, but he admitted in an interview, he said out of his own words that he felt African Americans do get targeted more by the police. And I want to say I have witnessed that, just using his words. And I support William Barr. I like the job that he's doing, and I feel overall I rock with Trump, and Candace Owens and Kanye, a host of others. I feel like the Democratic Party has abandoned the black people. For years, they've taken advantage of the black vote. I'm in Detroit, Michigan. For a number of years, I've seen the corruption from WXYZ Channel 7 News with not only the former mayor, Kwame Kilpatrick. I saw a lot of women in the city who used to throw Kwame under the bus, who criticized him very heavily. Even the radio talk show host by a lady named Mildred Gaddis. And even at one point in time, I think she was even trying to suggest that a lot of black people here locally switched over to the Republican Party. But she wasn't embraced because there's this stigma. Ever since the 60s, a large segment of the black population has voted for the Democratic Party. Much of that is changing. And I would encourage all black men, African Americans out there, to at least give President Trump a chance. And this was mentioned by the former owner of BET, who started BET, Robert Johnson, said this. Even the CEO, former CEO, well, I think he's the current CEO of Chase Bank, by the way, Jamie Dimon said the same thing previously. This was in the news. But you see what's going on. The media is 90% liberal, which we all can admit. Like CNN, MSNBC, we can all agree they don't like Trump, obviously. So can we expect them to report on the positive things we're doing? It doesn't mean just because you support someone that you co-sign everything that they say or do. It doesn't mean that I co-sign, or when they try to lump everyone in a category and say, all Trump supporters believe this, or everyone that wears a MAGA hat believes that. That's just group thinking, that's stereotyping people. And I think it's disingenuous to lump everyone in one box when we all have the ability to be free thinkers, to make an assessment. And from my evaluation, I think I've seen, in my opinion, the Democratic Party and Flint, Michigan, which was used for, I think, propaganda purposes, where they brought in liberal Hollywood, basketball players, entertainers. Much of the information, the truth is not being told, where they tried to put all the blame on former Governor Rick Snyder, who's not really a true conservative. He's a neocon. By the way, he's establishment, by the way, which is different from what Trump represents. And that's a whole nother discussion. But Flint was a liberal controlled city, just like Detroit. They were even warned. Even former Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick, who's still in prison, who was trying to get a pardon from Trump, by the way, which I don't know how that's going. The update I heard, it failed. But he even admitted a while back that him and former Governor Jennifer Granholm knew about that Flint water crisis. I saw a story on Channel 7 where the Flint administrators, the city officials, had to choose whether or not they were going to switch to the river water that poisoned the people, the residents there. They were the ones that made the decision. That was Flint, Michigan, which is liberal Democratic control. But they turned this into a big thing, made it one-sided, that it was the Republicans' fault. And I know it sounds uncomfortable. I see a few of you all dropping off because, some of you all know I'm telling the truth. By the way, when I talk about politics, which I don't sometimes, but since it was brought up, I swing more to the right than I do the left. I do think there's some things that we have to work on. America is not perfect. America has its problems, but I think overall, in my opinion, the conservative Republican Party has a better pathway. Does it right all of the wrongs? No, it doesn't. That's where we have things to work on. But I think it's not trying to destroy the family structure. What I see is it's not trying to get rid of the First Amendment, Second Amendment, which we already have established in our Constitution, our Bill of Rights. By the way, I don't see that coming from the Conservative Party. I see that coming from the left, the Democratic Party, that's pushing agendas to try to destroy the family structure or destroy the males, attack men, say, oh, that's toxic masculinity, by the way, that you're misogynistic or you're sexist. I see speech or they saying you should say this. I see this as, they do that in communist countries, by the way. In case you guys don't know, after this video is up, please look up information about North Korea and China. Because I guarantee you, if we get a Kamala Harris or Joe Biden in, as things will move towards socialism. And I think we already have certain candidates, how can I say, politicians, Congress people who already, that go to that side, that are socialists, that are going to push for a globalist agenda. Remember, Trump is more of a nationalist that empowers the country itself. Remember, the country itself has a gross domestic product, the GDP. If you study macro and microeconomics, by the way, if I have to get collegiate on you, mention how astute I am, by the way, to tie this all in together. So you can connect the pieces. What I like about Trump, he's trying to empower the country when he did with the tariffs, with China, where other countries are benefiting off of our imports and exports, but we weren't really benefiting, by the way. And in terms of trying to bring jobs over here to this country where we have big corporations such as General Motors and others that have outsourced, Apple, that has factories in other countries that have outsourced jobs that could have employed thousands of workers over here in this country with high unemployment rates that we already have, that could have helped people with disabilities of sorts. You have to look at this from a lot of different angles. And I think Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, was too high in my opinion. They wanted me to pay $200 a month, so I had got rid of it at one time. I had it at one time, but it was too expensive, by the way. So I think something needs to definitely be done. I think there's certain candidates I support. Kim Klacik, by the way, I like what she's doing down in Baltimore. I think she's sincere. By the way, I think there's a guy I saw in California that's running against Maxine Waters, Joe Harris. I watched the interview that he did with Alex Jones with InfoWars. I think that was an excellent interview. If that's his name, forgive me if that's not his name, but the guy that's running, the brother that's running in California, he's a former veteran too, by the way, which I support. Support my veterans, by the way. Every veteran, the United States, our government, by the way, I pledge allegiance to the flag for which it stands, the United States of America, for liberty and justice for all, by the way. God bless America. So that's why I swing more to the right. I think the conservative side, I'm for God, family, and the Constitution. Even though I don't have any children, I would have liked to have kids one day. I just don't see what the left is trying to sell as being totally genuine. I think in many instances, they're being disingenuous. They're not being fair. They're more biased, and they're not practicing bipartisanship. They're not as fair. I think the conservatives are more fair, even when I looked at the negotiations. By the way, even with Stephen Mnuchin said it was on Nancy Pelosi. They were holding up. That's why we didn't get a stimulus check. Do you understand, before Trump even signed the executive order, we could have had, if Nancy Pelosi agreed, people on unemployment would have had $400 a month anyway. They were willing to compromise, where Trump wouldn't have had to do that executive order. Everyone would have had checks by now, or second stimulus checks. Now, I understand some people didn't get the first one, but that's backlogged. They're going to catch up. But there would be second checks being sent out. But that was the Democrats holding that up. That was still good. $400 a week compared to $600 a week. That's more than what I make currently right now. By the way, I have a friend who was on that. He was getting $600 a week, making way more than what I'm actually making. And I was working during this COVID crisis. I didn't even get the hazard pay, by the way. So I can mention grievances. So that means I don't make this about me, but I could argue that I'm a hardworking American because of it. But I don't go out there pointing the finger and say this person's benefiting. But you look at if they just agreed and worked with the Republicans, but because they have so much vitriol towards Trump and the Republican Conservative Party, we can't get nothing accomplished. So I put more of the onus on the Democrats. Now, there was things I liked in the first stimulus package that Chucky Schumer, I watched one of the interviews that he did. I was glad it was bipartisanship effort, because it did concern me that these big corporations got large sums of money. And I remember the Lakers basketball team, for example, agreed. They got that small business loan and they agreed to give that money back, because I heard about people were upset when they found out about bigger corporations that got this small business loan, which they're not really small businesses, by the way, and they already had millions or a big bankroll. You know, you want to give this to businesses that were more in dire need, by the way. So I think that something needs to be done, worked out in terms of, I can understand the grievances that they have with Mitch McConnell, that we need to be more fair and balanced. But I think Trump is really for the people. And he did say, by the way, he would like to see higher increased stimulus checks. There's someone I follow, YouTuber, just to throw her name out there, Shalay. I think her name is Shalay Morgan. By the way, I'm subscribed to her. She gives updates like almost every day about the stimulus check. I like her style. She's based down in Alabama. The updates she gives. She's a sister, by the way. I show her love. Always thumbs up every video. You know, that's passion. So I stay abreast of what's going on. I stay abreast of both sides. But politically, if you're wondering where I stand at, since you know, someone kind of brought up about the Breonna Taylor situation. It's sad what happened to her, but just going over the reason I went over my background, we have to make smart decisions, especially we as African-American men. In case you're watching this video, we make up a smaller percentage of the population too. And I think we can't afford to lose in terms of our community. I like to see my people do well. You know, that's why I still support reparations. I have a subscriber. He's a Republican. He supports Trump. You know what I'm saying? I had no problem with that. You know, we discussed, he was against reparations. I was for it, but I didn't get mad. I didn't get triggered, you know, but I let it be known. So it's okay that we have our differences of opinion, but we should still be able to dialogue. You shouldn't ostracize a family member just because they're a Biden or Harris supporter, or just because that relative is a Trump supporter. You know, we got to come together as a people. We got to love on each other. That's true liberalism. That's being truly inclusive. That's practicing tolerance, by the way, which are supposed to be principles of liberalism. Don't get me started, by the way, but you guys get what I mean. You know, I think I'm more of a true liberal, but we have to be about love and coming together. Let's have genuine dialogue. And, you know, if my investments come through, I like to do humanitarian projects. And, you know, I have big things. My heart is with, you know, the poor, the middle class. I like empowering people, like the information I've given in this video, by the way. You have to think how many other people out there that you know personally are sharing this type of information, even showing their face. Well, I'm not hiding. You're not getting someone who's even hiding behind a pseudonym or fake account. Someone who's giving their real name. I'm being transparent, by the way. So I appreciate you guys, but we have to come together. By the way, I think if you guys are wondering where I lean politically, I lean more to the right. By the way, but that's a good statement, Moritz. I do pay attention. By the way, but we're also, I think, the Democratic Party. They're also, you know, using emotions. They're appealing to, and I think it's been weaponized because the mainstream media, which we know is mostly liberal control, it has a lot to do with that. Part of that. So you guys kind of already know, get the drift. I probably could do a separate video because, by the way, the Democratic Party was started by the Ku Klux Klan. Well, members of the Democratic Party organized the Ku Klux Klan years ago. You guys can look it up. Don't take my word for it. Grand Wizard spoke at the Democratic National Convention many years ago. The Democrats also voted for the Jim Crow laws, by the way. Remember, the Democrats controlled the South. The Deep South was where the Dixiecrats, there was a connection. They were like a party within the Democratic Party, by the way. Joe Biden was very good friends with plantation owner, former Senator James Eastland, who was actually a Democrat. The New York Times had it wrong. He was not a Republican. Jim Eastland, or James Eastland, former senator who died, who was also a plantation owner. I think he was also a Dixiecrat. He was very good friends with Joe Biden, who Joe Biden supported the 1994 crime bill, by the way, which was responsible for locking a lot of African Americans up in prison. Well, Kamala Harris was at a lower level position in California. You know, she criminalized where people were locked up over weed, by the way, and even for other instances as Attorney General, a lot of black people went to jail, prison under her. Now they've all of a sudden switched their tune up, but you can't take back what you did. It's people out here that are still locked up for weed charges. Back then, I used to talk to inmates, former inmates, when I worked in an apartment building years ago, and they told me our former governor, by the way, had came up with a law where she had got helped get for less offense crimes of the people that had like drug charges or whatever, where they were able to get out of prison. But it's some people, due to that 94 crime bill that was tied in to that stuff that Democrats supported. A lot of Democrats were behind that. And, you know, Biden, the video might still be up on YouTube. He fought for that. And, you know, that was responsible for a lot of black people being locked up. So you notice how it's interesting. They're switching things up. They always pander election time. They talk real good, you know, talk a real good game. You know, they're using, I noticed, the hip hop culture, because Kamala Harris was in town yesterday in Detroit on Tuesday, the 22nd. I happened to catch, I had checked Channel 7's website because I was looking for another story that happened. My mother told me something had happened down the street or whatever. So I was looking to see if it had made the news, by the way, that somebody, she said, it probably got injured or killed. I guess she saw paramedics down there down the street from one of the houses I grew up. So I checked the website and I happened to see, I watched the video, one of the religious leaders, Wendell Anthony, I believe, and the lieutenant governor was speaking, and Kamala Harris was at a barbershop on 7 Mile. And I listened to what she said, and some of the things she said, I noticed she brought up the Russia thing, that she was on the Senate Intelligence Committee. But I want to tell you, by the way, it looks like I lost my signal. My signal went out. But going over, once again, in case you guys lost the signal, I don't know how long that was, but I saw that Kamala Harris was in town in Detroit, and I went to Channel 7's website to check on the story. And one of the things she mentioned at this barbershop on 7 Mile, she said something about she was on the Senate Intelligence Committee and said the Russians interfered with the 2016 election, which I'll say is not true. That's fake news, by the way. You guys will hear about it coming out. There's subpoenas that are taking place behind the scenes, but Trump was surveilled by the Obama administration. He did know about it. There's individuals that were involved, and she's saying that the Russians, they're going to interfere. So they're pushing that narrative again, by the way. And there's the channels I follow where they're pro-black, where they care about black people, melanated people I follow on YouTube. And they even said a while ago, they didn't believe that whole Russia collusion. They said that that was a hoax. By the way, no, they made that up. That was done strategically because they didn't want Trump to get in there. So they wanted to try to sabotage. And that's why they targeted General Flynn and other people tied in with that whole scandal. The Epoch Times, by the way, which I might subscribe to get their newsletters, by the way, who I saw their YouTube advertisement videos, by the way, they put out excellent information. They can back up what I'm saying, as well as a multitude of other independent journalists, independent media people. But I want to say Kamala was lying. That was fabricated when she told that small audience there, if you're a black man, vote for Trump. You're black, melanated person. It's in your best interest. But I think, in my opinion, he's going to win in a landslide. I think he should win. His rallies that he just had a rally in Ohio, Pennsylvania. I heard his people waited in line for hours in Ohio. I don't see that same type of enthusiasm with Biden and Kamala Harris. I'm just saying. So I think there's black people going to represent a significant portion, a silent majority. So if I was a registered voter, which I have reasons why, I have good reasons, I would vote for Trump, and I wouldn't have hesitated. It would have been no problem. Just the fact that, you know, that Breonna Taylor situation is brought up, and I can do a whole separate video, which I had planned to for a while. I might delve into, maybe that needs to come up maybe after my follow-up video where I talk about politics. I try to stay away from it because I know people can get triggered and stuff, but let's have an honest conversation. But at the end of the day, I do think both sides need to work together. We should have had that second stimulus. That should have been Okay. Trying to find where I got, looks like I got lost. Okay, Saul G says, in your opinion, do you think the rate change will happen before the election? It's a toss-up. I'm not sure. In my opinion, they've delayed it so much, I wouldn't be surprised if nothing happens until after January of next year. In my opinion, I put that on the back burner. I really don't give it that much attention. I just say what's important, Saul G, is just keep us preparing. Make sure you go out, purchase an ounce of silver, go to your local coin stores, look up in your area. I don't know which state you're in, which region. If not, purchase from reputable dealers online, ATMEX, JM Bullion, SD Bullion, Gainesville Coins, Provident Metal. The list goes on. Look for the deals. They got a Texas coin metal place. It's pretty good, I heard. You want to look for physical silver eagles that have a higher premium right now. So you want to get regular bullion or constitutional silver, which you can buy smaller pieces like old Mercury dimes that used to be in circulation, Kennedy half dollars, Washington quarters, which are 90% silver. And those are less fake, by the way. They're also known as junk silver. By the way, some people refer to as constitutional silver. And you can break it. The concept behind that is you can break your pieces down when down the road when the price goes up, or if you need to barter and if stuff hits the fan scenario where things get really bad and you need to exchange maybe some of your precious metals for food, by the way, just in case the stuff hits the fan scenario down the road. That will help you be able to break down your pieces, your ounces that you have in the smaller denominations. That's why we have smaller bills like 10s, 5s, and 1s, by the way, and change. HH says, remember, we do not have democracy. We have a circus in government. They make us think our vote is good. Okay. Well, in my opinion, I addressed that too with the friend earlier, because I hear some people say, well, the Democrats and Republicans, they're two heads of the same snake. And I've heard that argument. However, I think Trump is outside the box. We haven't had a candidate. I don't think he's establishment. There's a difference. By the way, you do have a lot, but I think some of the establishment Republicans know they got to get behind them and support them, because their positions are at stake, by the way, because the left is being backed by very powerful people that don't have our best interest at heart, that are wicked people, deep state operatives that have nefarious intentions, a global criminal syndicate known as the Illuminati, the ruling class elite. They have underlings and minions that spy on people. They're trying to, like I said earlier, the left has become very destructive. And that's why there's politicians, candidates who were members of the Democratic Party for years. And one guy even spoke at Trump's RNC. By the way, I think he was famous, maybe a football player, somebody, several. And I say, watch that, go back if you can. But I think there's a difference that even though the conservatives have a better pathway, they are definitely a lesser of two evils. I know some people don't like that state or that quote, but that's what you got to deal with. We don't have a lot of choices, by the way. But I definitely damn sure tell you the Democrats, they're trying to destroy the family structure. Look, they're supporting, backing up these riots, businesses being destroyed, looting. You know, these are not peaceful protests. By the way, I could go more in depth. And where has that money gone? They need to be concerned about. They need to be rebuilding that family structure. That needs to be the #1 priority. Because I did hear about, that was another thing a friend of mine said he heard about, that Black Lives Matter took something off their website that dealt with their agenda. How I guess it went over, it talks about how they want to get rid of the nuclear family. See, they're the ones pushing that. Communism and socialism is being pushed by the Democrats, which is very dangerous when you look at North Korea. After this video is uploaded, everybody needs to look at North Korea and China. And there's other countries as well. How they disappear people, how their prison systems are far worse. You can't even imagine. North Korea, like that guy after Trump got elected, Otto Warmbier, that pleaded with President Obama to help get him out of there, which that was one of Trump's first order of business, but it was too late. He was a vegetable by the time he was brought back, but he was a political prisoner in North Korea just from stealing the poster. He was a Christian missionary student out of Cincinnati. And I saw the two girls that got off the airplane they were horrified, like over their mouth. They were screaming at what happened to him. I could tell that man was tortured over in North Korea just for stealing a propaganda poster over there in a hotel or place he was living at. That's how strict their laws are. Just over defacing a poster, or he was going to take it back to America or whatever, something like that. And they went and arrested him right when he was on the airplane getting ready to come back to the States. And this is what they do in North Korea under Kim Jong-un. Did you know recently it was in our news that Kim Jong-un ordered the rich people over there, he ordered all of their pets to be taken and euthanized. And a lot of the rich people, some of them said they were afraid to speak out what they fear what was going to happen to their pets, their animals. Imagine if this happened over here, people's personal pets and dogs. You know, people would be raising hell because some people love their pets and animals more than they love people, because they are actual people to some people, which I get. But this is what happened in North Korea. This was reported on by Yahoo News, which is running through the Associated Press. They reported on this story. This goes on in North Korea. This is what the left, the Democratic Party, is bringing here to America if you guys allow it. That's what a Biden-Harris candidacy presidency will bring. It'll slowly weaken the infrastructure like Obama did with bringing in his agenda with the LGBTQIA, which makes up a portion of the population. I'm not saying if you are that way, then it is for what it is, but that makes up a smaller percentage of the population when there's other issues and other grievances of people have over here, but they're pushing that more so to weaken the infrastructure and break apart the family structure and other agendas, by the way. When these ruling class elite, when you look at their lives, many of them get married. They're cisgender people that get married and live perfectly normal lives, but why are they trying to mess up everyone else's lives? So you got to think about that. Ask the question, why are they trying to screw everyone else's life up? Why am I still single? You know, I want to have a family one. I wanted to have children. Why would I support, if I was a registered voter, why would I support a party that wants to destroy the man? He's preaching toxic masculinity. He's a sexist. He's misogynistic. He's a misogynist. Why would I support that? I'm just saying. I think they both need to truly come together, talk about real issues that we need to see a togetherness. I need to see tolerance, but I think the left, there's no compromise with them. Unfortunately, there's no middle ground. And until they can get past that, I think the Democratic Party is not the true liberal party, the same party of JFK. It's changed. It's not the same. That's why I lean more to the right than I do the left. Just saying, it's obvious if you analyze it. You know, everybody's situation is different, so I can't speak for everybody. But in my situation, that's what I see in my eyes. And I've had other people agree with me. Lots of other people. You know, the lady text says, keep talking. Appreciate it. Mirrors06 says, yup, Democrats are something else, especially Alexandria Cortez. Appreciate your honesty, by the way. Oh, no doubt. I'm just saying it is for what it is. Sandra Weeks says, media has poisoned a lot of minds. People don't do their own research. Yes, I agree. You both are correct. Absolutely. Sandra Weeks says, thank you for telling the truth. You're welcome. Appreciate that confirmation. Sandra Weeks says Trump gets blamed for everything. Yes. Every time I turn on the news or I go to Yahoo when I get off work, there's always something every day. It's Trump this, Trump that. It's like you guys are doing the Mandela effect, the Streisand effect. You don't even realize you're giving him more attention. It's making him stronger, by the way. You guys have so much vitriol. You know, when somebody's really losing, and that shows how much hate they have, even though they claim to be against hate. Don't preach tolerance if you're not tolerant. You're going to be intolerant. Don't preach inclusivity if you're not inclusive. It's an oxymoron. But that's coming from the Democratic Liberal Progressive Party, by the way. Just saying, you know. Christy Isaac says, is there going to be another stimulus check? And are they going to pay hazard pay? Oh, now you guys are answering the questions. You know, I'm gonna have to go on a little bit, but whoa, you guys have really jumped in here. Okay. I have to scroll down quick. I was looking for you guys earlier. Now everybody, when I talk about politics, everybody jumps in. Appreciate you guys though. Good, very good questions from everybody. Appreciate you all. I think, in my opinion, Christy, to answer your question, there may be another stimulus check. My light is also getting dim, by the way. I have a backup light, too, by the way, But I think there will be hopefully another stimulus, by the way. Soon I'm to get my other light out. Just so there's better lighting in here. Appreciate you guys rocking with me, by the way. So it depends if they can come together. We have to pray. That's something we really have to pray about, Christy, to answer your question. I think it's up in the air. It's like I'm 50-50. It could be, but that's definitely kind of what I went over. If Nancy Pelosi, if they can reach something, a bipartisan deal, if they can come back together, even if the Republicans can go ahead and compromise on unemployment. I'm like, hell, why give them extra, give them a 600, it's not going to hurt. I think Trump has the numbers he should to win re-election. It wouldn't hurt to give the people, American people, 600 and, work together, I think they can go a little bit over. We already have a national deficit over 26 trillion. It's climbing. I do get you don't want it to, as the Treasury Secretary is concerned, they want to keep it at a cap, but I think it was already at 1.5 trillion already, the new proposed stimulus. So hopefully we'll see one, Christy. I'm there with you. I'm praying. Hopefully there will be. KD Unity says, hallelujah. Sandra Week says, Dems are the ones that own slaves. Not one Republican owned slaves. Yes, I say for the most part, for what I've studied history, the Democratic Party, I can't say, I don't know about specifically the slave ownership aspect, but I do know the South was controlled and they were predominantly Democrats, even though they say that there was a big switch. There really wasn't a big switch. I heard that Dinesh D'Souza tackled that. I have to watch the movie that he did on that he mentioned how it would actually happen. But geographically, people actually moved up north, by the way. But there wasn't this big switch they say that took place. And the original civil rights legislation was based off the Republican civil rights legislation of the 1800s. They said the one that Kennedy used, by the way, was based off the one that the Republicans had came up with. But also keep in mind, Lyndon Baines Johnson tweaked the Civil Rights Act and included the what do you call it? It's at the tip of my tongue. The government programs, they're called entitlement programs that deals with the welfare. The problem was those programs were designed to run out. So that's why a lot of black people switched over. They felt at the time Kennedy was the lesser of two evils, by the way, when all that was signed, when I was in the midst. But Lyndon Baines Johnson, remember, he said, I'll have those N-words voting Democrat for the next 200 years. Don't take my word for it, but everybody can look it up. And he was a Democrat, by the way. He took over after Kennedy was assassinated, killed. And he was a deep state operative. It was a known fact. When Martin Luther King spoke against the Vietnam War, the Democrat Lyndon Baines Johnson started calling King the N-word preacher. When King gave his last speech, King went against the establishment, by the way. A lot of people don't talk about that. I saw that parts of that last speech that King, and I found out that King gave that speech at the church that my grandfather was the building commissioner over in Memphis, Tennessee. Mason Temple, my great-grandfather, because I grew up in the Church of God in Christ Pentecostal denomination, in case you guys are wondering about my background. I'm Kojic, by the way. It's what I was raised in, and my great-grandfather. So I'm connected to the civil rights struggle. So I know what the heck I'm talking about, because these relatives, it's like they're going along with the media narrative. They're trying to, and some people are being fake. They weren't like this years ago. They're trying to change things up. And see, I've stayed true to myself. One thing you got to say, by me not being a registered voter since 2004, at least I've been consistent. I haven't switched things up. I've been stable in terms of that, of my belief structure, by the way, and what I've seen. And I have good reasons. I'm in a different category. I've already addressed that. If you subscribe to my other channel, I did a video about that, by the way, Dorsey's Resource channel too, where I addressed that. But I have to look into that. But definitely the Dems played a major role. Sandra, they tried to re-enslave black people too. So I wouldn't be surprised. I just don't know specifically about the Republican owning any slaves. I do know some of the founding fathers did. However, I wouldn't solely judge them totally based off that. I think down the road, it's more complex. But the Republicans, they were the abolitionists that fought to end slavery. Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. The Emancipation Proclamation, all of that, Juneteenth was due to the Republicans, by the way. It was also the Ku Klux Klan that burned down Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I found one article that mentioned this. The Democrats played a role, what they call Black Wall Street. That was symbolic of black, when there was predominantly black business ownership back in the early 1900s, during around the time of 1920. That's when the Ku Klux Klan was at their highest peak, and they came all the way from the South because they controlled the Deep South. That's where you have Dixiecrats south of the Mason-Dixon line. The Mason-Dixon line is like a dividing line of the South. If you're going towards Maryland area, sometimes you'll see it on the freeway. And you had a party within the Democratic Party called the Dixiecrats. So they were heavily tied in with the KKK, the racists. It was the Democratic Party, where certain things have not changed today. They're just using it, slavery in a different form. They're using it through the welfare programs, through entitlement, with Lyndon Baines Johnson tweaked through entitlement programs, which I wouldn't get rid of. However, I was argued, the elder that I do know that spoke, that said that he felt black people at the time should have been receiving reparations, but Martin Luther King fought for the lesser of two evils. At the time, Kennedy told him he felt white America wasn't ready for that yet, but he was working. They both were trying to do the best that they could, by the way. And when you understand, the mentality was different at the time, and King did a lot, but he also mentioned, I'm afraid I'm leading my people into a burning house before he died, and the Black Panthers felt he wasn't moving fast enough. So that's where a lot of these things don't get told to the newer generation. So it's like they're not really being, they don't really know or understand. So I get it. They're being indoctrinated. You do have racism, people who are biased, but however, that isn't, don't let that stop you as an African American. There are opportunities out here. I was even told by liberals in my family, a lot of women, despite roadblocks and obstacles that you might face, because sometimes they preach victimhood, but they also will tell you that there's opportunities out here. Don't give up, because they look for the top quality men too, by the way. I've studied dating psychology. So in the same breath, it's kind of like a contradiction. They'll say there's opportunities out here, which they are. Oh, my light went out, by the way. Guys, my other main light. So I'm going to have to rush through. By the way, I didn't bring my backup. Wow, this is the first time it went out. Let me see if I can get, by the way, we can fix this really quick. Get my other light in here. Okay. It's the first time that's happened. My backup light, my lantern. So turn my other light on. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to try to finish you guys' chats and finish up, guys. As you see, appreciate you guys. Things are rolling. But you're right. Media has poisoned lots of minds out here, Sandra. Dems are the ones that own. Okay, I read that already. KD Unity says, I stay in my lane, straight lane of my own, still grouping and division. Same bird of wing. I and me can't say yay or nay 100% to any one group. So figure till then, united as one, agree to disagree, move on. Okay, I feel you though. That's why the money will put you in a different category. But there's a demographic of people that say that. But remember, I'm saying in terms of the lesser of two evils, if you really delve deep into it, if you know about North Korea, these other countries, when they take over, when the communists come in and do these horrible things and take over, they don't have the people's best interest at heart, by the way. And I see that coming from the left. So I'm just saying, that's why I say the Republicans, they don't solve all the problems, but they are a better pathway, by the way. That's where I'm coming from. And Trump, remember, he's not establishment. Similar to Kennedy. Another thing I would say, Trump is not bought out, whereas Kennedy, he didn't have like a lot of wealth as much, like in the same sense that Trump does. Trump is not bought off. He actually donated his presidential salary, his second salary, and that's like $400,000. To me, that's like still not a drop in the bucket to donate that, to just give that away. That speaks volumes. So just something to think about. But I feel where you're coming from, KD Unity. KD Unity said, Tupac said it, Kanye trying, it's all in our face. We say no, but remember the difference is Kanye, a lot of people didn't pay attention when he met with Trump at the White House. he was lobbying certain things on behalf of the African American community. But the fact there was so much vitriol, they didn't even pay attention to that. Kanye actually talked about stop and frisk, which Mayor Bloomberg supported. Remember when Bloomberg was running for presidential candidate, he was scrutinized even by Roland Martin. By the way, he was a staunch Democrat, staunch liberal. So Kanye was like split. That's kind of like you being in the middle, you know, by the way. But I could address that in a whole separate video. There's a big difference between the Republican Party overall. I have to get into the pros and cons and the you know, how they keep people on the Democratic slave plantation through the entitlement programs, which I wouldn't get rid of because I think you need something in place. But however, I agree with more of the issues, the things that they support, what they stand for. The Republicans stand for the family structure, God, family, and the Constitution. I don't see that from the Democratic Party. I see them trying to get rid of the household BLM. Why would they take down that thing on that website when it was already exposed by a lot of different channels? Even in the manosphere, I study on YouTube the dating atmosphere, where like you have the MGTOW men and you've got the black version of men going their own way. I forget, called the IBM something. Man, they also call the manosphere O'Shea Duke Jackson, and they swing more to the right, by the way. You know, so I hear what you're saying, but that's why I swing more to the right than I do the left. We do have issues. It's not perfect, but I think the right has a better pathway overall. It says minority is true majority. So wish more saw this true voting as a form of consent. I know they all align and set. Sorry, my opinion. To a degree, but that's partially true. They're not aligned totally because Trump, why would they want to remove him by your logic? Because he's not technically he's not part of the establishment. He's a businessman. You know, people are some Democrats are even saying he's they don't take him serious. They think that he's still a TV actor. What do you call a reality show apprentice? They're still trying to tote that line in their argument. No, Trump is the real deal. He's very well studied too. He's done big deals. And remember the difference with Trump, he made his money off of casinos, golf courses, hotels, real estate, plethora of other things, where Democrats come into office broke and come out rich, very wealthy. You had Elijah Cummings, by the way, rest in peace, God bless his soul, for all the positive things he may have done during the civil rights struggle. But what did you do for the residents in Baltimore? While Kim Klacik had to go through their show, you have a lot of blight, abandonment. Obama allocated over $20 million. The money was stolen. I've seen the same situation happen in Detroit, Chicago, my home city, Cleveland, many liberal cities, where our local media reported on it, even though they're trying to change things up for the social justice warriors. WXYZ, Channel 7, WDIV, Channel 4, that talked about City Hall corruption exposed, not only the former mayor Kwame, but even going back to Coleman Young. So when I hear that, that's also an excuse, by the way. It's like you have this woke community that acts like they're woke, but they're not fully woke. And I could touch on that, but you know, so I can debunk that argument that they're not, in a sense, Trump is outside the establishment. In a sense, there's difference between establishment candidates, but they're not technically two heads of the same snake. The Republican Party is truly the lesser of two evils. They have a much better pathway, and they're not trying to destroy the Constitution. They respect the rule of law, by the way. So, and you have to have structure. If you don't have structure, you don't have stability. Do you want anarchy? Go over, like a lot of liberals said when Trump got elected, why are they still here in America? I heard many of them said Trump was going to ship black people back to Africa, which was stupid, foolish. Some of them, my friend said, his mother said down in Baltimore that Trump brought the coronavirus to kill black people. I'm hearing such stupid, idiotic stuff. This is some hood, ghetto, Negro stuff that's just retarded. I mean, and you guys, I mean, I don't even entertain that. But I asked the question, why are these people still here? Go over to Liberia. Why don't you go see what it's like to live in North Korea? After this video's uploaded, look up about communist countries and China. They still disappear people. No place I'd rather be. America may not be perfect. Yes, it has its issues, but right here is one of the best countries in the world. And that's why everybody's trying to bring themselves over here. It's going to say something else that you guys can read in between the line. But I don't buy that, you know, when I hear that, there's more deeper to that. That's a lazy way of you know, your argument. It has really no the merit to it. It's like saying, you know, like everybody should just give up, you know. But I'm saying you still have to vote. You don't have a lot of choices. We can agree there's not a lot of choices. Like you have these independent candidates, you generally know, like Jill Stein or the Green Party, they're generally not going to do well. They're just, some people say they're there to take a percentage of votes away. What I'm saying is Republicans have a better pathway. They're not perfect. They do have issues. You do have racists in different regards. You can't control that, but they even passed a bill on police reform. The Democrats felt it wasn't good enough. So we could have even seen better policing and things, but the Democrats not only denied the stimulus check, and it was Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, which is powerful because he's connected to the Federal Reserve, that said it was the Democrats holding this up. So the Republicans are definitely the better of the lesser of two evils. I know some of you guys might not like the statement, but that's facts. And I know the majority of you can agree with that. I'm just saying, I've already proven, I've debunked that argument, but I got to get ready to roll. I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me. By the way, I scroll down, but I don't see both parties as, in a sense, some instances, the Bloods and Crips. But remember, this president, he's an outsider. And there's also people in the private sector. For those who know about the private sector, by the way, there's people who really running things and COG, continuity of government, behind the scenes. I saw something years ago about that too, by the way. Lady Tech says, on Black Wall Street, I think we need to use our negotiable instruments to purchase all of that. Okay. King said that because he may have been saying that making black citizens may not have been a right move. Okay, very intelligent comment. Sorry, guys. It's overwhelming amount of comments now. I wish you guys were in here earlier when I was, I was trying to answer questions. That's why I put it out there. But at the last minute, you know, because I'm at the plantation, by the way, I'm on a time restraint. Gotta head back. Sandra Week says, we need you to have more of these chats. You are educating us. I just shared your channel twice, hoping people will listen until the end. Appreciate you, Sandra. Namaste. You're speaking real truth to power. Appreciate that. But I've got to skip over. I got to run. I'm going to try to read. Okay, some of Katie Units, he said, public all is built upon the mounds, burial grounds, special places, books written on probably most probable start good intentions, and sadly once you reach a level given an ultimatum. Okay, yeah, I get that. Yes, once you do reach a certain level in this, I do agree with that that part. KD, sorry I can't finish all of the comments, statements, but I do appreciate you guys very much. Don't forget to thumbs up, share this video. You can subscribe to me at Dorsey's Resource. I'm on Facebook at Dorsey's Resource. I'm on Twitter at Dorsey's Resource. I'm also on Instagram at Dorsey's Resource. I'm your host, John Dorsey. I want to leave you guys with these cliches. The marathon will continue. Real legends never die. You know, until next time, guys, I'm your host, John Dorsey. Stay woke. Deuces. Wakanda forever. Rest in peace, Chadwick and Kobe.